Chuck, lead us in the pledge, would you please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay, we got chairs that never roll. Okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor.
Here.
Benefield. Brooks.
Here.
Frizzalone. Gould.
We have
Hart.
minutes to approve.
Ogalla. Parker. Staley Ferry. Tumanello. Weigel. Winfrey. And Mustis. You have a quorum.
Okay. There is no minutes to approve. Under old business, replacement hires for pre-posting for supervisor assessments. Rhonda, you want to?
I'm here. She's at your chair.
Go ahead, Rhonda.
These are 3 entry-level positions. 2 of them are resignations. 1 of them is a retirement. The resignations, 1 has been gone since December. 1 is due to leave in the end of February, and the retirement is April 1st. So these are positions that obviously we need on staff for our exemption efforts. They're replacements. We're not sure at this point whether we're going to have enough people as it is, so these are really, we need, these are necessary.
So these positions are currently filled, but they're going to be.
2 of them are, 1 of them is unfilled, but we'd like to, since they're all entry level, we'd like to
Okay, well, let
post.
me ask about the unfilled. Was it budgeted for?
Yes,
So it's already in your budget. So all these positions
They are-
have been budgeted.
and they are, the money is in my budget for all 3 of these.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to do the pre-posting.
Second.
Motion? Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Rhonda. Is there any other old business to bring forward? Yeah, before we get into new business, because I'd just like to, Darren Benefield approached me, where you had Darren anymore, about, opportunities that we may have. Judge Carla's here. It's always easier for me to use the old name, Carla Goody. Even though she's been very involved with, especially courts, would involve drug courts and veterans court and so forth. So Darren, I don't know if you wanted to.
Thank you, Jim. I did, and I was informed this week via phone call from Judge Carla of an excellent opportunity that's actually come to Will County. Ron Velocity and the Family Guidance that we've been working with at the courts has an opportunity, and it looks like a very good opportunity to receive a $2.1 million grant over 5 years. And that grant, they'll apply for it, will be to partner with Vivitrol for our Will County courts and providing funding to support education, medical services, and assessment services for Will County. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Family Guidance, but they've done an excellent job with us at the courts regarding the Vivitrol program. And we think that, I feel that this ties in real close with our Public Health Committee. It ties in closely with our Legislative Committee. And I know that Judge Carla has asked to speak a bit this morning. I'd love to have her come up. Let us know what this opportunity is and how we can move forward with this. And Judge Carla, is that fine, Jim? I'm assuming so. I guess the podium would be fine. Thank you for coming in today, Judge Carla. Mr. Velocity, nice to see you again.
You know, when I swear in the jurors, I say my name is Carla Alessio Policandriotis. And they have that same look y'all have, too, okay?
How long did it take you? Say it right.
I know, right? I know, right?
I'm Greek and I can't say.
I think he wrote it down phonetically for me for at least 3 or 4 months, right? I appreciate having an opportunity to be here. This past, 3 days ago, based on my schedule, Ron was able to present to myself from Family Guidance an opportunity, as you indicated, to apply for a $2.1 million grant. And the history that we have with Family Guidance is one of the reasons why I'm here, to tell you that our relationship is good, they produce, and they have incredible results. This particular grant actually fits the void that we have in what we've been putting into place. As each of you may have a different familiarity, some people will qualify for any number of your problem-solving courts, but there's too many that can't. And what happens is this grant fits that vacancy or that void. Right now, a room that used to be occupied by Dr. Zoot outside the public defender's office for pre-trial opportunities, Family Guidance has one of their representatives there in an office every day. So if one of the public defenders has a client that needs a drug and alcohol assessment, whether it be for a DUI or felony matter, and they're already out on bond, the person is there, immediately accessible, and it is free. I know you just heard that, right? But you didn't jump up and down as I did. It's absolutely free. The cost to assessments and referrals are very, very expensive. So you can imagine that opportunity to have that available right outside your lawyer's office. And it's awesome. We also have in place, through our relationship with Family Guidance, in your Will County Adult Probation Office. They currently have an individual who sits there, and based on a referral through probation, your experts who are recognizing issues that people need help, they're immediately requiring them to go to the representative from Family Guidance, get your assessment. Let's find out what your needs are, which could also not just drug and alcohol issues, but also mental health issues. They have the resources to do those as well, with the immediate referral for assistance. And you're going to jump up and down this time because it's for free. You have a system in place right now that I sign a court order for someone who's asking for help, and every Saturday at the Will County Adult Detention Facility, there are representatives, a number of them, medical staff and otherwise, all provided by Family Guidance. They are in the Will County Adult Detention Facility, originally 4 hours, but now 8, because there was so much need. And Sheriff Kelly gave me the additional time. They do the assessment, they give them the education, they make the reports, and if the person wants and is eligible medically and otherwise for Vivitrol, which is an application of medication once a month for opiate addiction, they receive that medication while they're clean, while they're in the jail, when they have the opportunity to have it. The discharge date thereafter is 10 days. Amazing. Free. They leave the adult detention facility with the opportunity to go into intensive outpatient treatment and receive all that follow-up medication through Family Guidance at no cost to the participant. Those are great things, right? What's missing is this, and this is why we're here today, and this is what the point that this grant, and I'll let Ron speak on his own behalf. The grant is for post-disposition matters. So someone can't be pretrial, they cannot be talking with their lawyer and saying how this case may end. The biggest component, that's the most important thing about this grant, is that it provides money for bricks and mortar. It provides money for housing. So instead of housing these individuals in your Will County Adult Detention Facility, post-disposition, meaning they receive a sentence of probation, they would leave custody of the Will County Sheriff, and if they're pre-screened to qualify, meaning all the things that we do, no crimes of violence and things like this, they would then be able to go into a home that is a sober living environment, run like we already run your homes, the Miller-Taylor home and the Julianne home. Right now we have 14 individuals in those 2 homes total. And outside of that, within our specialty courts, we have 20 individuals in the Oxford homes within your community. This grant allows us initially to have a little over $127,000 to purchase another home, completely managed by Family Guidance with their money. Any employees needed to staff and otherwise occupy would be Family Guidance employees. But none of these grants will be awarded without an agency such as the County of Will suggesting that we're behind them, we need it, and that we have the resources to support it. And I tell you, all three of those, you already know. You have such successful problem-solving courts, and I think that's why Family Guidance is going to get this grant. We're going to give them all of our criteria of how we manage our own sober living homes. And with the history, Drew McCabe-Sturry, I don't know if you know, back in 2011, presented to the National Conference of Drug Court based on an essay she wrote and explained about this house, this incredible house, that people who leave a jail, who have nothing, because they've been there for such a period of time, that their personal property is already on the curb, there is no more lease, they've lost public assistance, and families aren't able to assist. And we have a home for them that's clean and sober and managed. The first 2 weeks that they're there, they receive it for free to give a transitional period. And after that, there's an obligation of them to pay a reasonable rent that allows them to search for work, earn an income, be clean and sober and surrounded by people who are clean and sober, and get into an intensive outpatient program or outpatient program post leaving your jail. I'm here to ask you to look at this grant, figure out how somehow we can do everything we can by the end of the month, because that's when the application must be presented, to give Family Guidance any and all support that we can. One of the aspects of this grant is something I did not know, and yesterday when I was staffing for Veterans Court and also your ARI docket, I brought it to the attention of all of our case managers that there is a website that I directed all the case managers to, that it's called Bonds for Jobs. And our federal government now has an opportunity to have an individual or any employer ask them for a bond to hire someone who was discharged from the veterans, one form of the military other than honorable. They'll bond them up to $5,000 at no cost to the employer or to the individual asking for a personal bond. So when they go to an employer, whether it be a not-for-profit, for-profit, or a government agency, that individual can hold on to this bond and say, trust me, I want this job, I can do this job, and if I fail, the federal government's going to bond me for $5,000. So if I take something I'm not entitled to, if I do something that I shouldn't, the federal government's telling you to take a chance on me, and we're going to start using that within our specialty courts as well. So, and I know that we made a phone call into Workforce Development. They were unfamiliar with the federal program, but they use the state program, which is insured through Fidelity, which might be a little bit more challenging to obtain. If you have any questions for me, I'm going to stand right over here, but the person who knows this potential grant inside and out is Ron Velocity, and if I may, present him to the microphone.
Before we go on to the opportunities, before you get moved from the podium, I just want to say that I'm aware of all the courts, the specialty courts, but I have to say I was unaware of the treatment that comes through the courts and the availability of treatment through the courts.
Thank you.
So it was kind of nice to hear kind of the nitty-gritty of what goes on outside of there's a drug court graduation, right?
Right, and I appreciate that. And for the last
So-
2 years, Judge Shainstead has given me the privilege of being the presiding judge of the felony division. And with that, so you have your heart at a certain place, and it's always been specialty courts for me. So then you take over being the presiding judge, and I knew what was missing. And so with the assistance of Family Guidance and other resources that we have, most cases now are being disposed of once we know what the issues are. And that means recidivism rates drop. It means that the occupancy of the jail should drop one thing I was listening to the presentation here by your sheriff, is that this grant also allows us, through this grant, to have the Will County Sheriff reimburse for any and all transportation costs incurred to bring anyone to treatment. It also allows us to have the sheriff's office not only receive that money, but the sheriff's office to be reimbursed for the Saturday timeframes that they are paying for a correctional officer presence for that assessment purposes and things like that. We have our protocol in place, Jim, that makes this not only the right thing to do for our community, but cost-saving, not just now, but exponentially as it goes in the future. So I appreciate you recognizing that we're taking what we've learned through the special courts and taking it to a different level. So,
It's nice to hear.
yeah. Did you have any other questions for me? I'm sorry.
Darren?
Oh, I guess I didn't have a question for Carla as much as that. I understand that this is actually coming out of the 21st Century Cures Act, so, which is great. Have we had any discussion with our federal legislative?
I was going to.
Well, let's not get, let's get through the presentations.
Gotcha.
And then we
Understood.
can talk about what you need from us to perhaps be successful in getting the grant, so how we
Okay.
can be helpful. Okay, why don't we do
So,
that?
do you want me to step
Why
aside?
don't you introduce, you want to introduce, go ahead, come on up, yep.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning.
morning.
I'll only be a short time. Again, my name's Ron Vlasid. I'm with Family Guidance Centers. I'll give you a quick overview of Family Guidance Centers. We're a non-for-profit behavioral health care company. We've been in existence since 1980. We have 7 facilities throughout the state of Illinois, one of which is strategically located in Joliet. We've been out in Joliet for about 5 years now. And when the judge talks about the services we provide are free, I want to explain that a little bit. Is we are licensed and funded by the state of Illinois and the federal government to do substance abuse treatment in communities. We have been afforded opportunities with the state and the federal government inasmuch as they have provided us over $20 million of funding last year to do substance abuse treatment in communities such as this one across the state of Illinois. So the services that we are providing to the residents and to the court systems and the jail in Cook County are either being reimbursed by the federal government or the state government, which we have a contract to serve indigent individuals, people who can't afford treatment, people who are absolutely down in their luck and need some assistance in recovery. So I just wanted to explain that a little bit to you. The opportunity that was
Free to the client.
free to the client, for sure.
Yes.
No question about it. And that's why I think we're seeing some success, because individuals can access services now they never could. So I wanted to spend a minute about this grant. I actually printed out a summary of the grant. It's only a 5-page summary. These are grants that Family Guidance Centers normally goes after in our course of business. To get those contracts from the government, sometimes you have to complete an application and submit what they call an RFP to a funding agency. When I saw this one, which we just saw a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately it's due at the end of the month. When I saw this one, I met with the state of Illinois, our funding agency, and we together discussed the possibility of making sure Will County could be included in this grant with the fine work that the judge does over in the drug courts and the court system and the jail system and our relationship. The state of Illinois thought this was a great mix and a great opportunity, because the grant asks the provider of services to have relationships and collaborative agreements with local governments, specifically the judicial system, the jail system, and the county governments, which they describe as a local government. So obviously this is a match made in heaven. This is something that is very attractive to us, and I'm hoping it's very attractive to you as well. Because we're on such a short time frame, let me back up. This grant has something different in it that no other grant has had in the past that we have been had an opportunity to bid on, and it pays for 30% of the grant money pays for housing, and you rarely see that in federal and state grants today. with regard to the substance abuse, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but the federal government has the Department of Housing, and there's different governmental bodies that take care of housing, but I think the federal government in this situation found that there is definitely a relationship between recovery, substance abuse, and housing. So the 30%, so the grant is $425,000 a year for 5 years, and 30% of that can be used for housing. So we don't have enough time between now and the end of the month when we have to submit the application to identify properties and begin negotiations with landlords in terms of purchasing and so on and so forth. What we're looking for right now, which is required in the application, is collaboration letters and documents of collaboration from local governments that they will work with us to provide housing if in fact we did get this grant. So we don't have to get into a lot of details of how that's going to look, who's going to own the building, who's going to pay for it. Family Guidance Centers obviously would be paying for the operation of any facility based on this grant. But I don't think we have enough time to supply all the details to the application. So I think today what I'm specifically asking for, and I actually do have a template of a collaboration letter, that the Will County Board collaborate with Family Guidance Centers in going after this grant, specifically related to housing. I'll entertain questions.
Well, before we get into actual questions, does everybody understand what the request is? Because I'd like to kind of maybe get that out of the way first, unless you want to go through questions first. Mary, it's not an agenda item, so can I move this over to the? Okay. So I'll be saving a space to do a collaboration letter with Family Guidance then. And in the meantime, that gives us time to talk to other folks too. So if someone would like to make that motion. Move, second, all in favor? Aye. Now, this was to place it on the county board agenda, which will be next Thursday. Are there any additional questions? You know, all I will say here again, from awareness standpoint, that like you folks are out there, you know, none of us here talk too much about our own personal lives, but let me say this, that we're all touched by addictions. My family's no exception. And it's a tough deal when you have the resources. I can't imagine what it's like when you don't have any resources. So to have somebody, an organization like Family Guidance and working with the courts and, you know, working with law enforcement, working with local governments, working with the state and federal governments, for those people who don't have the resources, I think is really a worthwhile endeavor. So I'm glad, and I was unaware of you, so it's like nice to know you're there. So I think that this is really something that's worth pursuing. Denise, did you want?
Just thinking that, given the other efforts that are going on in the county, it would be helpful if Dr. Burke would be involved with you in terms of putting that together.
No.
I should tell you that Ron and I work closely together.
I was going to say they're in the same world already, I think, right? So there's collaboration between.
Yeah, and over the next couple of weeks, as we have a grant writer who writes this grant, we will definitely be reaching out to Kathleen as part of this. No question about it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much.
Okay, I have a summary of the grant, and then I have a template of that collaborative letter.
Okay, we'll give it to staff
Pass
here.
that out.
Yeah.
I don't know how many copies I got there, about 10 or so.
I'll give it to staff and they'll distribute it, you know.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Judge, thanks very much. Okay, I know I took a little additional time you probably weren't counting on, but I'll see if I can make it up for you. Under new business, you know, I want to, because we have an intergovernmental agreement with this City of Joliet on our agenda, and since I believe they're here, are they still here? There they are. you know, I'm going to jump them up to the number 1 spot here. So not to take you from 17 to 1, okay?
Yep.
This way they can get on with their day too. So, Nick, you're handling that? You want to make? Is Nick on?
Good morning.
Go ahead, Nick.
Just a brief summary. This has been talked about for many, many years. It's a good day, hopefully, if we approve this today. But we have an agreement that's been hammered out, all the details. This has come most recently through Capital Committee. Just a quick summary for everybody. There's a few moving parts. This is the Chicago Street right-of-way, the 121 Chicago Street building, and this is for the city, and the parking behind the police station in exchange for a complete courthouse parking. We have part of that lot. Joliet has a lot. They're transferring that to us. They're rebuilding the lot, and they're granting us the property around the new courthouse site. That's high level. The two outstanding issues that we've talked most recently about were the number that was going into the demo of 121. The county is paying them a not-to-exceed amount to demo that, and we're going to pay them after the fact. And then there was an issue with some of the street lighting, which we've, around the new courthouse, and working with county board staff, state's attorney, and city of Joliet, we have hammered out a deal that we believe is ready to go. So that's high level. Mary can address any legal issues if there's any questions.
The only other thing I would say, and I'll entertain questions, or Ray, you want to comment? You know, Mary, this is all in the state's attorney's review. So I assume.
We have been reviewing it. Just this morning, we were talking with representatives from the city of Joliet about some concerns, but I think that we are in agreement, so we will get that final language, and it should be ready to go.
For this county board meeting? Okay, all right. Ray, did you want to make any?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to the new administrator over there in Joliet. He's been a pleasure to work with. I know Marty Shanahan's sitting over there as well. Working together, I know Reagan and Nick and Mary have put a tremendous amount of work into it. I had asked for a spot to be saved because one of the reasons why is Tuesday, they are going to be expecting to take action. And as it sits right now, both sides are pretty much in agreements, and they're expected to take action on Tuesday. And we should be able to take action on our Thursday board meeting. But I think moving forward, this is a pretty big step in the right direction with the collaborative efforts working together. And I'm pretty excited about our future working together with Joliet and what this is going to do for not only them, but for the county as well. So I definitely want to thank, Reagan, Nick, Mary for their hard work, but the Joliet officials as well.
Okay. So we'll be placing this on the agenda when we do everything. I don't know if there's any comments from the folks from Joliet. Dave, you want to make any comments? Or, I mean, outside of how great we are working together.
Dave Hales, the new city manager. It's been great to work with the infrastructure committee, and I think Marty, who spent the last couple of years working with Nick and others on this agreement, so we're in full support. We see it as a great first step, as an ongoing, even enhanced collaboration and cooperation between the city of Joliet and the Will County. So thank you very much, and look forward to getting this agreement executed.
Me too. It's been a long time coming. Me so too. Thank you for your comments. Okay, next we have under new business, authorizing amendment to the retiree health insurance trust agreement. We got to move. Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Declaring vehicles surplus and authorizing disposal. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Declaring sheriff seized vehicles surplus and move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Renewing contract for electronic recycling. Permanent drop of, okay, moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Renewing contract for electronic recycling. Turnkey. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with the Village of Romeoville for access to the countywide radio system. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with the Village of Rockdale for access to the countywide radio system. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. authorizing IGA with the Village of Frankfurt for access countywide. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with the Village of Homer Glen access to the countywide radio. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with the Joliet Junior College for access to the radio system. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Authorizing IGA with Creek Township for the mobility management project. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with the Frankfurt Township for the mobility management project. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with Monee Township for mobility. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Authorizing IGA with Peatone for mobility management. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with the Washington Township for mobility management. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing IGA with the Will Township for mobility management. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Next we have replacement.
17. We didn't get a motion on that.
Oh, we
yet,
didn't?
Jim.
Okay. Authorizing IGA with Joliet for the land swap. Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Replacement hire pre-posting for the land use department. Well, before we get into this pre-posting, you have to ask, is it a replacement hire? And is it already budgeted for?
Good morning.
Hey, Dave.
I have Brian's here with me as well. He can provide the details. I can kind of tee it up for him. This is in addition to two existing development analyst positions. I guess technically it could be considered a new position, but put it in a context. We had more similar positions 8 years ago before the recession. And Brian can kind of explain a little bit more detail about.
Yeah, before we get into need, I assume, I think there's just an assumption, if you didn't feel there was a need, you wouldn't be asking. And we don't necessarily ask you for the justification for the position, but I think, you'd like to know if it's new, so it's not a replacement hire. It's just be creating a new position, and whether it's in the budget. And the reason I'm saying that is because that this is a budget change, because it's not an existing position. Therefore, I'm assuming it's not been funded for in the budget, because we don't leave unfilled positions in the budget. So I think, and if the committee has a different kind of view, I'm going to let you also say why you think it's crucial that you have this position. But in effect, when we're doing it, we're indicating that we're going to give you an additional appropriation, in my opinion. And I don't know how willing this committee, and myself, I don't know if I'm willing to give an additional appropriation. Doesn't mean you can't have a hire, but understand, you will hit no additional dollars for this position within the budget. So, and we've done that too with folks. Say, well, we're going to allow a position, but we're not going to give you any additional appropriation. So I just kind of want to make that clear, where I think and the intent of all this is. So go ahead and make your justification, but I just, want you to kind of lay that groundwork for us here, okay?
Okay. Before Brian speaks, I just wanted to just make note, if you recall, it was at the November 7th Finance Committee meeting that the department did bring to the attention of the committee that there were 3 positions, and this is one of them, that the department felt were necessary for operations that were in the proposed and recommended budget for FY18, again, that were not included in the final appropriated amounts. So I just want to be clear with the committee that, that is the case.
And let me just say this, and even if it's approved, there'll be no additional appropriation in any case.
All right.
If we make any adjustments, it's at the end of the year. And of course, we generally take that out of your current budget, even if we transfer money from one line item to another. It's the following year where the appropriation probably comes more into play, which will be the 2019 budget. I'm just saying that for the benefit of the committee. Mike, I see you're moving your hand there, so I mean.
You did say at our last meeting, Jim, that based on us losing a few individuals, it's probably a good time for the executive to look at a reorganization maybe of land use, so there could be dollars there if it's...
There may be money available, but regardless, though, I want the committee to understand that, we go to pre-posting, you approve the position. I don't think it has an impact on necessarily this year's budget, because we usually, we would never fund it up front anyway, so we haven't done that in years and years and years, but understanding if it did create a shortfall, we would consider it and did an additional appropriation. It has more to do with the 2018, and of course, there could be some reorganization that we might suggest as far as management goes. Okay. So right now, I think, because you're going to be okay on that. So, Nick, I'm going to recognize you, but I don't want to get into that bigger picture thing. I mean, if that's what you're going to comment.
Well, this is a pre-posting, which is the positions, usually when we bring these pre-postings, they're budgeted positions. This, like a couple other departments, there is a bigger issue to discuss, but I can say this, if this gives anybody any comfort. Based on the last meeting's comments by you, Mr. Mustis, and the need, because the director's retiring, we lost another senior staff person, we have been strategizing about reorganization, as we have over a number of years, and I think we're assuming a little of this, because this wasn't specifically spelled out by the board, but I think the inference is there. We've been reducing staff for years. We've increased salaries for certain staff, but that's because they're taking on much more responsibility and higher skilled staff, I would argue, over the many years, and their productivity is going up. So I think I don't
disagree with anything you said there, by the way.
So hopefully, and hopefully most board members agree. Less dollars overall, maybe better paid staff, but more productivity. And I think it's been noted by several board members when these come up before, is they responsibly and collectively, we all reduced staff when the economy went down, and now there is a need for some of these positions as the economy comes back up to be efficient in our processing of plans, permits, inspections, what have you. But we can give that presentation, we'd like to in the near term, about what it's going to look like. And it may not be exactly what was suggested last time, but it achieves some of the same goals, I think, so.
I mean, I will acknowledge that out of all the departments in the entire county, I think that the land use department has continually reassessed the organization and have shifted things. And I don't disagree with anything you said there, Nick, by the way. So I would agree with what you said. So I think this is more just about an understanding of it's not a budgeted position at this time. I think there's probably will be funds available within this year's budget to fund it. So we could just go on. Does somebody want to make a motion on this? Moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Clarifying point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just also at the last the November 7th Finance Committee, there were two other positions that I just wanted to advise the committee that we'll be coming forward with in February with request or pre-authorization for posting. And that would be for a full-time building inspector as well as a part-time combination inspector.
You know what I would like to say is, and Nick, I'm going to look to you a little bit the executive's office, who has oversight of the land use department. We do know there's going to be some changes, and we do know that there's going to be some overall reorganization. Not that I'm looking to hold off on any, but it would be nice if some of those discussions could take place, get some of the thoughts of the executive's office, maybe Kurt, your thoughts before you leave, on how we could further reorganize the department. And like I say, we're not going to commit to any, at this point. You're telling us you're going to probably in the future be making a request, but, and I'd say, okay, you can make the request, but it would be helpful if we got another picture of what we think things, how they might look going forward. You know, so even when I said we did such a great job, Kurt, on how things got reorganized, and I said, well, maybe we don't need to replace you. I didn't mean that we don't need a director necessarily. I'm just saying that maybe we can do it with the current bodies that we have now, that type of thing, you know, so. I mean, I know there's always has to be somebody that's in charge, right? Because we have to have somebody to blame. Right? He just kind of shakes his head, yeah, okay.
Whatever you say.
Okay, so understood, but understand that we'll probably be having some discussions, right, Nick? Yeah, so, okay, all right. Okay. We had a motion, right? Okay, so now we got replacement hire pre-posting for the Department of Transportation. So you want to move on it? You want an explanation? We have a bunch of people. I will say that they have a number of people that these are either open positions or they're leaving, retirements, workman's comp. I mean, if there's anything more you want to say.
Unfortunately, we had 2 deaths in the department.
Yeah, that's
and there
true.
were other retirements with the end of the year. So these are needed positions.
These are.
And they're budgeted.
Well, especially this time of year, so, you know, Don, I don't know if they always run this by your committee, but. They don't. Okay. Well, maybe we should, it always helps to mention it to the committee too. So anyway, so moved, second, have a second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Pre-posting for County Executive Maintenance Department, I have a motion. Move, second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Replacement hire for the county executive. I don't know exactly what this one is. What is this one?
I'm not sure on this one.
Nick? Nick, do you know what it is?
Oh, this is a replacement hire. This is a maintenance worker. It's another. The other one was a pre-posting for Sunny Hill.
Oh, so this is the hiring of a maintenance worker?
Yes, of a
A replacement hire, yeah, I got it, okay.
Yes.
So, okay, so, we have motion second, all in favor? Aye. Yeah, before we go on to, and even though it's not on the agenda, but I am gonna ask to entertain a motion to place it on the county board agenda, and that is for, posting for the replacement of Karen Burke in the county board office. So if I can have a motion, to that effect? Motion second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, thank you. Next, we have proclamations. Chuck, Herb, any comments on the proclamations?
I really hadn't even seen them yet, so.
I put a sheet on your,
Oh, right
right
here
there.
underneath.
All right, well, somebody just wanted to, why don't we just move forward? We got a motion, second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. We got the appointments by the county executive. Well, I want to ask one thing on the appointments, and that is the appointment to Metra. Is that included in this? No? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. As we continue to maybe have a search, so, okay, so appointments to the boards and commissions, moved. Second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries.
That first one you just did. Mary Lynn.
One Oak, are we still on One Oak, Mary? the continuing saga of One Oak, right?
We finally got their changes back yesterday late. Phil Mock was looking at them this morning. So I am going to ask that you put it on the county board agenda. I am hopeful I will not have to ask for it to be removed again.
Well, if you do, it's okay. We want it right, so we want to make a motion to place One Oak on the county board agenda. Moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
But the tax abatement too, is that on the list?
We also, we'll do that under committees, John.
Okay.
Okay. Well, because, let me say this. There's an abatement that I'd like to place on the agenda. I guess it would be placed on the executive committee agenda. So can I have what's, the abatement is to Silvestri paving?
We have the details.
Don't have the details?
Don't have
Nick?
the
Details.
You're requesting that be placed on the agenda?
I mean, that came in after the last Economic Development Ad Hoc Committee, but I believe our existing policy is just, it comes to the executive's office, we give a letter, which I don't know that you've received. If we haven't done that,
received
you
the
did get,
letter.
you did get that,
Letter.
okay, good.
And the problem is just due to illness and stuff, we just not having time.
So-
to get
So we're gonna come right straight to the board.
Economic
You wanna take it right
development,
to
so
the
just go
board?
straight to the executive.
So the
committee with
exec,
this one.
so then.
We're supportive of, that's why we give the letter,
Okay.
so.
So why don't we, unless people want to go through all the details, you can always ask questions, you got a week to get any details, you will get the details. You know, we have a pretty, we have a guideline they pretty much follow, so it's not like,
May, Jim?
it's not like, and then we'll.
Yeah, and John Grueling and the group brought the information to me for the economic development. It's a pretty straightforward, the business, it's only about $1,900 in tax abatements, and there's only one school district that's involved, there's no other government bodies that are involved with this, and they should actually be passing this 2 or 3 days before it comes to us for the county board. So, it should be pretty straightforward.
I just had one question on this. Is this a business that's moving from outside?
You know, I believe they're an existing, certainly Silvestri Paving's been around for a while. I think it's an existing location with some expansion of workforce. Do you know offhand, Nick?
Darren, I'd be glad to get you some of that information, because I mean, I
Really?
have that in
We
their
have it.
packet.
It'll be attached.
You'll
to
have all the
agenda.
information before the county board. And at the county board meeting, if you don't want to move forward, we can always send it back to the committee, okay? So alls I need,
Nick's got it.
yes?
They apparently have a small Will County presence, but they're moving a larger portion of their operation to Will County, so
Okay.
we
Right,
can, if there's
I thought
questions
there
between now.
there was a couple different sites
I read
that
it, and
were
I thought
involved.
that is what it said. I knew they were going to expand their base here in Will County, including some additional employees at this location.
And again, we're not talking about a lot of money.
So, no, it's not a lot of money.
Okay.
So I just need a motion to place it on the executive committee agenda for the county board, for the county board meeting. A motion second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Okay.
Okay, okay, we'll get to committee reports. Anything on land use, Tom? Any questions for Tom? Okay, thank you. Finance.
You'll be sorry.
Mike, is there anything, any questions for Mike? No? Okay, we'll move along. Public Works, Don? Any questions for Mr. Gould? Okay. Judicial, Darren, you already had your day in the sun earlier, right? Any questions for Darrell? Public Health and Safety, Judy, you have anything you want to make?
Just routine.
Just routine. Any questions for Judy? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. Legislative and policy.
There's nothing. on this
There's
one.
nothing on the agenda. Capital improvements.
He
Yeah, we
needs
need to save 2 spots.
Okay.
One's for authorizing county executive to execute amendment to the current professional service agreement with White.
Okay.
Completion of the master plan, and also authorizing county executive to execute agreement with White for the design services necessary for the new animal control facility.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to place both those items on the agenda. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Anything else under capital?
Nope.
Executive committee, any questions for me, anything on the executive? Okay. Any public comments today? Any comments by committee members? I have no comments. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Move. Second, all in favor? Aye. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Move. Second, all in favor? Adjourn. Thank you, folks.
12:25.